So let's be real. There are a lot of people who see a tremendous amount of benefits to taking hormonal birth control. And when I'm talking about this, you could actually be taking the pill. You could be taking Yasmin. You could be using the patch, Nova Aura. We could go into so many types of birth control. Having worked in the crisis pregnancy center, let me tell you, for 5 years, I would see day in and day out that our counselors were having to deal with almost a new 1 to 3 types of birth control up to almost every single time they were working with a new client, because there is such an industry for birth control today. And we would see firsthand some of the symptoms and struggles they would have, which we're going to dive into in just a second. But what are some of the benefits? And let's be honest, because there are a lot of women who would really like some of these benefits. For example, it can actually help with weight loss for some people. It can also do the opposite in others. It can also cause women to have larger breasts. And we could dive into that more, but we've had Dr. Gerard Nadal on the show before talking about the link between breast cancer and contraception. And because when you're using birth control, your body's in a state of pseudo-pregnancy. So the lobules that are developing, the cells in the breast are developing toward becoming breastfeeding type of cells. And what happens is when you end a pregnancy early via abortion, or when you trick your body into thinking it's pregnant, the body begins to develop these lobules that are type 1 and 2. And guess what? They're cancer vulnerable. But if a woman goes through the full pregnancy, what happens is actually her breast tissue develops into cancer-resistant breast tissue. It's so fascinating. There's a phrase that Dr. Nadal always uses, such as, the mother gives the child life and the child gives the mother life, in a sense of helping to develop these cancer-resistant cells in the chest. And again, if you want to hear more about that, just look up Dr. Nadal as one of our guests on Trending. You can look at the guest page at radiotrending.com. It's an absolutely fascinating episode. Let me know if you have any questions about that. So other benefits besides larger breasts, that's just kind of explaining why they're larger and why it's actually a health risk, is that for some women, it can also help with lighter, predictable, or even no period at all for women. It can help improve their complexion. And hey, let's say that we're going for all of these other benefits, it can even prevent pregnancy from occurring. And this is what's sad, is that a lot of teenagers and even young women today will start taking birth control because they're having a really heavy period, or there's something going on with their health, or maybe it's being used as a band-aid by the doctor to not dive deeper. And what's happening is that as time goes on, we have maybe a teenager who was not sexually active will suddenly become sexually active later on, because they all of a sudden are in the heat of the moment. They really care about this person. There is a request for sexual intimacy, whatever might be going on. And they think, well, hey, I normally wouldn't do this, but actually I am on birth control. I'm safe. And that's the attitude that a lot of girls end up having.